I'm often asked, how do you get ideas for things to do with your grandchildren? Well, here's something that happened to me this week that just illustrates how you just kind of go with the flow when you spend time with them. We were in the kitchen. My grandchild was sitting right there in the chair, and we were making biscuits. And he's very interested in all the ingredients, so I'm putting a little bit of each ingredient into his hand, and he licks it. He's too young to help me much beyond that. But we were having a great time. In the process, I got out my butter, and I pulled off the bottom of it and took some butter out. And I thought, I'll just give him this. And I told him, you can recycle this when we're all done. You can get down and put it in the recycling bin. And I just set it next to it. I went on cooking my biscuits and putting the ingredients and giving him samples. And one time when I looked up, he had the whole thing taken apart, and he had his hand up in it, and he was doing this. And I thought, oh, that's something we can do while I've got the biscuits in the oven. So we got the biscuits in the oven, and he sat there. He had to kind of watch, but when it was done, what he ended up with was Mr. Handy. And he got to play with him all day, and he just loved it. Let me show you how we made Mr. Handy. We'll start by taking the rest of the flaps off the bottom of the box. And then reinforcing that bottom with some tape. That way, as hands go in and out and through it, it will be less apt to tear apart. Now we'll use the box itself to make our pattern. So we're going to place it on the paper about halfway in. We're going to draw a line up each side and across the top. And before we put it up, roll it over once and draw a line on this side, flat again, and again on the other side. Oops, hold it still. Then we're going to take our ruler and go straight up and down on all of those lines. So that we know where our folds are going to be and where we need to cut. I'm going to draw this line across the top all the way across. So this is what we have so far. The main box goes in here. Those will be the sides of the box, and these will be the top of the box. Now the top of the box is actually on this paper. We'll put it this way so you can see. If you line that up on the top, it's just a little too big. So I'm going to draw a line on this side and draw that across and cut that so the top of the box I don't have quite so much that needs to be folded over. It'll stick out a little bit if I did it otherwise. So we've cut off the extra top. Now we're going to cut on all four of these lines just down to the top of the box. Then we can fold. Because we cut on those lines, I can just fold right on that cut and have it nice and even. Got one more here. We'll just fold our way down, turn it around and come back the other way. Fold on that cut, and as you fold it, make sure this edge is lined up, and that way you'll have a nice straight fold. So now we have 4 folds. You can begin to see how our box is going to come together. If you want to go ahead and fold the tops, you can do that as well. Pull down to that line all the way across. Give them a nice push. Now this is good sturdy cardstock paper, but you could do it with any kind of paper. And if you needed to double up because kind of a bright color, you could use 2 pieces. See, now you can really see how he's going to come together. But before we put him together, let's do some ears. So let's go back to these side pieces. I happen to have a nice razor kind of pencil, but you could use scissors if you needed to. It might not be quite as smooth. Cut yourself some flaps for ears. They may be straight, they may be curved, they may be straight and curved, and they may not match. If you want to make sure they match and you're coordinated, then draw them on the back side because they won't show on the front side. Now that you got your ears, go back and pop them out. You only cut the flap side and leave the part so that it folds open. Now you can really see how he's going to come together. Time for taping. Put the box in the middle. I like to prep my tape in advance so I can just kind of pick it up off the edge of the counter as I go. So here's one. I think I need 6 pieces of tape. 2. 3. You just put them just on the edge of the counter. You can pick them right back up. Let's see, that's 5 and 1 more. 6. Okay, so now as I fold, we're going to do one side and put a piece of tape to hold that on. And you can do the other side. Pre-folding those tops, I need less tape. So squeeze it tight. Put a couple of pieces of tape down the back. Actually, I think I want one more in the middle. If there's too many loose ends, a young child is going to start pulling at the loose ends. And a couple on the top. There we have the beginnings of Mrs. Handy. Now, your child can crayon faces and ears, and the ears can go down to be pushed on to color and then come back out. Or you can help with marking pens, which is what I did on Mr. Handy. And with a little bit of coloring and faces, you have some wonderful puppets. Ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce you to Mr. and Mrs. Handy. If you should make some puppets like these, please take a picture and send it to me. I'd like to share it with others.